Jai Gurudev. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet. Jai Gurudev. I think these are all beautiful shlokas describing the Jivan Mukta state, describing the Brahman. Yeah, let's go ahead and share.
Didi, I wanted to ask one thing. The example that came, like in a paralyzed hand, Maya goes away and Maya is not there. That's what Nanaji said, right?
Yeah, the power of Maya is not there.
So could you please explain that? Because, we say, no, it is prana. Yeah. How, thoda sa elaborate kariyega, please, is pe?
Yeah, it is like in a blind person, the power of sight is not there, isn't it? See, what gives the power of sight to the eyes? It is the mind behind. It is not just the physical sense organ. It is not just the eyes that are there in the sockets. It is the power behind that, which is the mind. What is the power behind the mind? If you keep going backwards, it ultimately comes to Maya. It's the power of Maya that has created all of this. And what is the Adhara for Maya is Brahma, right? So if you look at that, the presence of Brahma is there, but the power of Maya is not there in the eyes that cannot see, in a blind person. The Shakti of the power that enables the eyes to see is of that Prakriti, that is Maya, isn't it? Similarly, when you have a paralyzed hand, if you're able to move your hand, it is not what you are doing. It is because of Maya, because of that power of Prakriti, that you're able to move your hand up and down. It is because of that, those nerves, the energy and the information passing in from the nerves that goes in, from your mind saying, I want to lift my hand, and then you lift your hand, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I add something?
Go ahead.
So, what Brahmaraji said, just to add to that. So, when we talk about Jnanendriya and Karmendriya, these Indriyas are actually the power behind these. Either it could be the organs of perception or organs of action. So, it's all referring to the power behind, not the actual organs or the apertures themselves, right? You have the physical eye, but the power behind that is the Jnanendriya, Chakshu Jnanendriya, which is the sight. Similarly for ears and taste, touch, all that. So here, this power of all these, which actually helps us to do what we do, is a part of the Sukshma Sharira. And Sukshma Sharira is what actually is the, what do we say, the life, expression of life happens through Sukshma Sharira. Expression of life. So only if Sukshma Sharira is there, then there is life. The moment Sukshma Sharira goes, gone. Gross body is there still, right? Same way, each of these Karmendriyas, Jnanendriyas also have the power behind. That power, if it's not there, then the physical hand is there, but doesn't move. So that hand is a part of the Karmendriya, right? Hand, legs, speech, those 5 are there, karmendriyas. All the power behind that is a part of the Sukshma Sharira. So that power, when it's not there, yes, paralyzed hand is there, but hand cannot move. Which means physical body level, yes, gross body has the thing, but Sukshma Sharira of that particular, the power for that particular karmendriya is not there anymore.
So the
Yeah,
power behind is Maya.
power behind, yeah, everything that's there, we can call it Maya. Other than Brahman, everything else Maya. So yeah, to that extent, you can call it Maya. Yeah, but if you go down to further detail to understand, yeah, it is that every organ has this power behind, which is what. Um, so they say that actually we don't know. Maybe in some places we have in the past heard that eyes means it's a the indriya is actually not the eyes. Indriya is the power behind the eyes. So eyes may be a part of the stula sharira, but the power of sight, the power of being able to move the hand, everything is a part of sukshma sharira.
Isn't it a tanmatras?
No, no.
The power behind the organs?
No. Tanmatra is the subtle element, right? The pure form of subtle element is called tanmatra, which goes through the process of grossification and then becomes different, like the panchikarna happens, right? That's how the physical body gets formed, and to a different levels, degrees of that subtlety, it also is a part of the mind and all the antakarna also. But tanmatra, from what I understand, is the pure form of those elements, the 5 elements,
Okay.
which goes through the process of panchikarna to form to do the grossification process. Brahmaraji, you can correct. This is what I.
Yeah, that is true. But I think maybe Tanmatra we may have to revisit, because the power behind the sense of perception, sense of all the senses is also, I think, labeled as Tanmatra.
Oh,
It's
is
not
it?
just, it is not just the pure forms of the elements of the Panchamahabhutas.
Okay.
If we go back to Tattva Bodh, if you remember that the chart, in that they've mentioned Tanmatras against the
Yeah, so yeah, each
sense
organ
organ.
also is related to some element, right? Smell
Yeah.
is earth, and okay, yeah, that way you're right. Maybe yeah.
Clarify this, because Nana said by the time we go to chapter 18, we should not have any questions, any doubts. See, I'm just reading from Tattva Bodha, Swami Tejomayananda's. From these 5 elements, out of the Sattvika aspect of space, the organ of hearing, the ear evolved, and like that, Sattvika aspect of air, touch, and all that. Now, the subtle elements, Tanmatras, create the sense organs, which also enjoy the same degree of subtlety. The main characteristic of Sattvaguna is knowledge. Naturally, the organs of perception are born from the Sattvika aspects of the 5 elements. Each element has its own special quality. The corresponding sense organ is evolved to perceive its special quality. For example, from the Sattvika aspect of space, the organ of hearing is created so that it can perceive sound. Now, in this chart, where is the Tanmatras they mentioned? Yeah, but I suppose what you said is also is right, because here it again says these subtle elements are called tanmatras. They cannot be perceived by our sense organs. It is the power from the sattvika aspect of the tanmat, of the subtle elements, that the different organs of perception are formed, or the capacity to perceive is there.
So yeah, then maybe we can refer to each of those power also as tanmatra, as somebody was mentioning. Right?
See, because that is what it is said, the subtle elements tanmatras create the sense organs which also enjoy the same degree of subtlety.
Okay.
So I'm not sure whether we can name the power behind the sense organs also as the tanmatras, isn't it? Because let's clarify this.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Nanaji.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brahmaraji, Vijayji.
Yeah. I think yesterday we stopped at this Jale Jalam Vyad Vyomni Tejas Tejasi Vayatha. Is that? So I think as good students, we all have to do a bit of revision, because and unless we are thorough, so that is what Nana is expecting. I'm just letting you all know. That is why he's revising the Tattva. He revised the Tattva Bodh as well as the Atma Bodh. So it is good for us to have such doubts right now. Let's not, and then we clarify. It's not like you should not have doubts later. It may come up as well. But let us all be kind of um, revise ourselves. So when we do it ourselves, then probably that will also deepen our clarity. It's only to become clear, that's all. Does anyone want to chant? From today up until the 3rd of November, we will have to close the Manana by 5 to 7. We will not go on till that is another 45 minutes or 40 minutes we will close. I mean, I will leave, but you're all welcome to continue. I will have to leave the thing. I can make one of you the hosts and then you can continue. Okay. Does anyone want to chant this shloka?
Yeah.
Yes, Sarlaji, go ahead.
उपाधिविलयात् विष्णौ निर्विशेषं विषेन्मुनिः जले जलं वियद्योन्मि तेजस्तेजसि वा यथा.
Yeah. This when we have this sandhi like this, vyomni is there, no? Where you have
Yeah.
na and ma.
Mm.
The first you will
Yes.
say the full
No.
consonant and then the half consonant. So
Min.
it's vyomni. Like
With
Vishen,
Vishen Muni. Vishen Muni.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong because it
Vishen
depends
Muni.
on
It will
the
be,
word.
it's always, they say top to bottom, left to right. So in this case, na should come first and then ma. So it will be viodv, sorry, yonmi, yonmi,
Yonmi.
yonmi. So
Half
ma,
half half letter is first.
half letter is first. Na will come first and then me.
But then that there's, see, it is actually vyom. Vyom is the akasha. Vyomni. If you look at the English transliteration, it's vyomni. But whereas you cannot use the same, the same the same explanation
Without
for the
Vigraha.
Vishen Munihi.
Hmm.
So maybe there is a little more aspect to the Sanskrit grammar which maybe we're missing, but the word vyonmi does not really make sense. It's not vyonmi, it is vyomni. Same way vishen munihi. It's not, you can't say vishem mun. It's difficult. Vishe.
But when we say Santi,
Ah,
the na comes first and then ti. Though
correct.
na is half.
That is what. That's what I'm saying. There may be some more subtle aspects of
Rules are
grammar,
there.
rules
Okay.
that we might be missing. It's not as simple as just the first, the half or the full letter that comes first. So maybe as we chant along, that little innate knowledge of Sanskrit and the words will help us chant correctly. I don't know the subtler rules of Sanskrit grammar, so I may be wrong, but this Vyat Vyomni is the right word. Actually, Sanskrit grammar is so accurate. It is said that is the only language that is compatible for computers, because there is no ambiguity about it. So we might be missing out some detail. So Upadhi Vilayat, on the destruction of the Upadhis or conditionings, Vishnu in the all-pervading spirit, Nirvishesham, totally, Vishet is absorbed, Munihi, the contemplative one, Jale, into the water, Jalam, water, Vyat, the space, Vyomni, into the space, Tejaha, light, Tejasi, into the light, Va, and Yatha, just as. On the destruction of the Upadhis, the contemplative one is totally absorbed in Vishnu, the all-pervading spirit, like water into water, space into space, and light into light. The Upadhi in me that has occasioned the expression of my personality is my identification with my body, mind, and intellect. No doubt, it may appear that there are other limiting factors, but all of them arise because of one's association with these three evils. The seeker who wants to end the conditioned existence and discover the whole in him should withdraw his mind from the said upadhis. When I no more identify myself with the individuality in me, with the egocentric existence, which is the reality reflected in the mind and intellect, is destroyed, then, like water into water, space into space, and light into light, I come to merge with the Vishnu, the all-pervading. Naturally, when my limited existence is made unlimited, I can be nothing else than the all-pervading. The stains on the mirror having been washed out, the reflection is now brighter and clearer. When the equipments are destroyed, the Muni, a man of reflection, Manana Shilavan, comes to experience the inner bliss without any admixture or qualitative distinction, Nirvisheshatva. When the Vishnu or the all-pervasive nature of one's own self is realized as the self in all, one comes to remain at one ment with him in eternal joy, losing one's own limited individuality. It is like the wave merging with the ocean, right? And really these few shlokas from 54 onwards, that brahmetya vadharayet, all those shlokas are so very pregnant. I mean, every shloka in the Atma Bodha is like that. But these last few shlokas are just very, very, very uplifting. Yalla yeah, Sarlaji, sorry, you want to chant?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
यल्लाभान् परो लाभो यत्सुखान् परं सुखं यज्ञान्ना परं ज्ञानं तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत्.
Yeah, if you allow me, I will just chant one more time. That na has to be given that
Yes.
this one. Yallabha na paro labho yad sukham na param sukham yajnana na param jnanam Tad brahmetyavadharayet, because that na is there, no? That double na is there.
Double no.
Otherwise, the meaning will change.
Yeah.
You may want to chant again, maybe.
Yallabhanna parol
Correct.
labho yat sukhanna param sukham yat jnanan param jnanam tad
Yajnana param jnanam.
yat jnananna param jnanam
Correct.
tad brahmatyavara vadharayet.
Tad brahmetyavadharayet. Very good.
You continue, please. I have
Yalla
little
no, but you made a very good.
throat problem.
No problem, Satlaji. Yalla bhat, from the attainment of which, na, not, aparaha, other, labhaha, attainment, yet sukhat, from the blessedness of which, na, not, aparam, other, sukham, blessedness, yet jnanat, from the knowledge of which, na, not, aparam, other, jnanam, knowledge, tad brahma, that to be Brahman, iti, thus, avadharayet, realize. So realize that to be Brahman, the attainment of which leaves nothing more to be attained, the blessedness of which leaves no other blessing to be desired, and the knowledge of which leaves nothing more to be known. These three following stanzas in Atma Bodha try to indicate the supreme Brahman by a technical process used in Vedanta to express the absolute called Tatastha Lakshana, an attempt at definition by differentiation, yet in consonance with it. In indicating, for example, the house of Sat Prakash Ji, we may say that house on which the crow sits is his house. The crow does not permanently sit there. The crow is no part of that house. Showing the crow, we indicate the house separately from other similar houses. The house is, of course, understood as the building without the crow on it. Even when the crow has flown away, the knower of the house can recognize it from all other houses. This method is called Tatastha Lakshana. The supreme experience is explained here as the greatest gain, the greatest knowledge, having gained which no more is felt any sense of incompleteness, and so none will like to add any more gains to it. Having enjoyed the bliss of the self, none will strive for a greater bliss, having known which there will never be any thirst to know anything more. That state of absolute gain, bliss, knowledge is Brahman, the experience of the self. All struggles to gain new acquisitions, to add fresh joys, and to strive for more knowledge indicate the sense of dissatisfaction felt by the imperfect. Imperfection belongs to the individuality in us, the ego, jiva. When the jiva rediscovered itself to be the self, all imperfections it so far felt are understood by it to be the destiny of its matter envelopments, the body, mind, intellect. And therefore, in that condition of spiritual rediscovery, the realized one finds that all his struggles have ended. That in experiencing which we come to feel such an endless fullness in our life is the supreme goal. So this is an important concept in Vedanta, is the Tatastha Lakshana. So it is the method by which the absolute is expressed. It's a technical process used in Vedanta to express the absolute with an attempt at definition by differentiation, yet in consonance with it. So you're saying what? I think even the neti is also part of the tatastha lakshana, right? So once you attain which, there's nothing else that requires that you feel you want to acquire. Like the example given here is the crow on that building. That is the building that belongs to this particular person. So the crow is not the building and that's not the house, but you show the crow only to indicate the building.
Hari Om, Brahmaraji, your volume. Am I only feeling your voice is not getting distracted? Am I the
Yeah,
only one?
I also said I could not
Okay.
hear last
You
two.
not here? Oh, sorry. I think,
Yeah, yeah.
is it better now?
Yeah, it is fine, Brahmaraji. Dhanyavad.
So you were not able to hear any of this that was read?
No, no, only last 2
Last
minutes.
bit. Okay. So do you want me to read this again? Any of you?
No, no, then you were
Alright.
explaining
Okay.
the crow sitting on that house.
Yeah, on that house. Okay. Maybe because I was moving back and forth. Does anyone want to share anything with respect to the last verse? Yeah.
Hari Om, I feel Yoga Vasishtha is becoming clearer now after going through this in depth.
All of them are actually linked. No, it is only different ways of describing the same Brahman. So it's like connecting the dots.
Even Taittiriya,
Yeah.
that Nana said, no, Taittiriya.
Yeah. That's
That
such
will
a
also get
beautiful thing,
connected.
Taittiriya Upanishad, if you have the opportunity, please listen to the chant. It is one of the Upanishads which has such a beautiful chandas.
Mm.
And what he said about this one unit of Ananda, Manushya Ananda, then
Yeah.
Gandharva Ananda. It's so beautiful. I mean, it is like they have quantified Ananda and they've said what Brahmananda is.
Correct. Mm.
Sarlaji, you want to chant?
No, it's okay. You chant.
No, go ahead. No, please go ahead.
Yad drashtva na param drishyam, yad bhutva na punarbhavah, yad jnatva na param gneyam, tad brahmetyavadharayet.
Yad drishtva, which when seen, no, not aparam, anything else, drishyam, to be seen, yad bhutva, which having become, no, not punarbhavaha, to be born again in the world, yad jnatva, which when knowing, no, not aparam, anything else, jneyam, to be known, tad brahma, that to be Brahman, iti thus, avadharayet, realize. Realize that to be Brahman, which when seen leaves nothing more to be seen, which having become one is not born again in this world, and which when knowing leaves nothing else to be known. In so perfect a state of tranquility, peace and perfection, there is no further demand from within us to gain anything else to make us more perfect. If there be yet any lingering demands, then we have to consider ourselves still to be imperfect. The highest state of existence is that supreme joy experience when there are no thought eruptions, when we no longer exist as the ugly ego center. In the experience of this absolute bliss, when the mind and intellect have ceased to function, truth dazzles forth in all its essential natural beauty divine. All other intellectual endeavors are but reflections of the self on the objects. Atma Vidya gives the realization of knowledge itself. All other knowledge of things is conditioned, and they are apprehended by this eternal light which illumines the entire worlds of its own projections. Having known this pure awareness, nothing more remains to be known. Having become that eternal being, the subject, there is no more any object other than it for it to illumine. Having obtained a glimpse of that reality, there is nothing more to be seen or understood. Having awakened to that consciousness, all the misconceptions are removed. Having burnt our ignorance, avidya, the seeds of bondage, vasanas, get charred.
Brahmaraji, the last line only. Could you please read again? Having
Having
burnt the.
having awakened to that consciousness, all the misconceptions are removed. Having burnt our ignorance, avidya, the seeds of bondage, vasanas, get charred.
Okay, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. So this means if this is this akanda, the absolute contentment, absolute joy, because you don't have any more desires, any demands. So in case we do have, then it means that we're still imperfect. We have not reached that highest state.
True, very true.
No? Because sometimes we might think, oh, when you're having a very nice meditation, that is, well, that is an experience, yes, but that does not remain throughout. No, we get back to um, our mundane world and get lost in this egocentric nature. But it is that state where you don't drop down. But then I'm just wondering, in the experience of meditation that we get, we do have some glimpses of that, the Turyavastha, but then it's only glimpses. It just takes our consciousness just dips in there. We are taken there, and then we feel very elated, but it's only momentary. I'm just wondering when and how will that remain um, permanent. Think for that,
Correct, Brahmanaji, correct.
no,
Yes,
for that,
craving for that, that it remains throughout the life. I mean,
yeah,
till.
Through
I,
grace only, no? Gurudev says.
not just through grace. Before that, I think, I mean, I'm talking for myself. I have a lot of inner cleansing to do. All the raga dveshas, all the kalmashas, all the uh, you know, those have to be cleared. No, the mirror, it is as though you have a mirror. It is got a lot of dust, but there are some areas where it is clean. And I think in our experience of meditation, when we experience those little glimpses once in a while, it is through those little areas which of the mirror are clean that we're able to have a peep into the absolute bliss. But the rest of the mirror is still quite dirty. So our job as our purushartha is all about cleaning the whole mirror so that the whole truth dazzles forth. That is what it's here, no? In the experience of this absolute bliss, when the mind and intellect have ceased to function, truth dazzles forth in all its essential natural beauty divine. So we need a lot of cleaning to do.
But
Yes,
again,
in a
Gurudev
pot.
says hollow and empty and autis means meditation only will make it clear, I think.
Yeah, it's a
We can,
meditation,
yeah,
regular
we have to
meditation.
practice again that only.
Correct.
Mm.
That not only practice meditation, we also have to do karma yoga in the truest sense of karma yoga. So to polish ourselves, let go of our ragas, dveshas, because these are ones that are binding us to the mind and intellect, to the ego center, isn't it?
But Brahmaraji, doesn't it again we have to apply the Bhagavad Gita Gyan? We don't have to get attached to that also. We have to do it like we are not doing it. And Gurudev always said ki you are Nitya Shuddha Nitya Buddha. Means yesterday also again he meant you don't misuse the knowledge, but you are pure all the time.
Correct. So in one sense, there is nothing that we have to do. You just have to relax. But then the nature of the mind, and thanks to the power of all the vasanas that we have accumulated over the years, over the births, that is what is dragging us down. No? So for that, we have to do that karma yoga. So there is a little bit of kartritva when you do karma yoga, isn't it?
Hmm.
Because you are offering it to there is that little dvaita bhavana there. So as long as that dvaita bhavana is there, for karma yoga, you need to have that. No, otherwise that you cannot practice karma yoga. You're giving it to you're doing it as an Ishwararpana buddhi. So that means you're offering everything to the divine. So there is this distinction between you and the divine. And whatever result you get, you're taking as prasada. So there is that duality there. That subtle duality is there. But I think that is required for us to cleanse ourselves.
Yeah, today Swamiji has posted one 65th verses of 6th chapter or something like that. Second chapter.
Uh-huh.
Prasadat Sukha Dukkha. It is very nice ki how the mind become very clear. I will
Yeah.
go through that again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The example of that pot and the 14 holes, it's so beautiful. I mean, we can make out which hole is not illuminating the light.
Yeah. Our attempt is to break that pot so that we are just the light, nothing but the light. As in,
True.
we have, as long as those holes exist and we are looking at the light of the lamp through the holes, as long as those holes exist, it means there is that body, mind, intellect, ego
Working. Mm.
working. So our attempt is to dissolve that pot. I wouldn't say break, maybe just dissolve that pot and merge with that light. So then there is only one light. No, there is only one. There is no two. There is no 14 different lights. There is only
Yes,
one light.
that's so beautiful. Yeah.
Jai Gurudev, that is Guruji.
Yeah.
The miracle is happening with our group, you know. When I joined, I couldn't understand Dr. Dr. Renuji. Now her speech is becoming clearer and clearer day by day. It's so wonderful. It's wonderful. When
Thank
she
you. Thank you, Siddhaji.
so beautiful.
Yes,
When
we can understand you, Dr. Renu, now so well. I mean, it's so beautiful. Amazing.
You made my day.
Dr. Renu, you have posted here. We have to ask Nana this very important question. Which is the question you wanted to ask?
You said, asked how we can keep Surya Avastha all the time.
How to remain in the Turyavastha all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
They don't know if they can do that.
yeah.
Khalas, they have
Alas,
achieved everything.
Kalas, no more Zoom sessions.
Yeah.
No more Atma Bodh. That is what is
No,
said.
no.
No,
Atma
no,
Bodh is the correct.
no,
What
no. What
I
I,
have understood, Atma
yeah.
Bodh 68 slokas, and the last 10, 15 are the ground of everything.
Mm,
Except to the other which I had never felt that.
mm. Very nice.
Thank
So,
you.
no, no. What I'm saying is, according to the previous shloka, it says, once you attain this knowledge, there is no need for, no yearning for any other knowledge. You've reached that knowledge base, which is all knowledge, isn't it? Yeah, nice. Let's take the sankalpa that we all should, that mumukshutvam should be there, that burning desire to reach that state should be there. We should keep that flag flying high, that fire burning nice and bright.
Yes.
Mm, that is one thing we should hold on to. You know, when you have that mumukshutvam, I think all other worldly matters, no matter how big or small the challenges or pleasures might be, they will lose their significance. They lose that hold on you. You might have maybe a situational conflict with someone at home or somewhere outside with your colleagues, anything. It becomes very kind of superfluous. It's like when you're flying up in the aeroplane, on the ground level, your cars and everything look nice and big. But as you're moving up in the air, in the aircraft, all these so-called huge trucks and all that become like ants, small little things. So as you keep going higher and higher, your perspective and your vision actually changes. So what you'll hold
So
on to,
what? So hum, yes.
yeah, you'll hold on to what is the truth, and then all that is not truth will slowly start flittering away. Yeah, Sarlaji, you want to chant this one, 56 shloka?
Yeah. Tirya तिर्यग् ऊर्ध्वमधः पूर्णं सच्चिदानन्दम् अद्वयम् अनन्तं नित्यमेकं य तत् ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत्.
Tiryak, all the quarters, urdhvam above, adaha below, purnam fills, sachidanandam, which is existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute, advayam, non-dual, anantam, infinite, nityam, eternal, ekam, one, yat, which, tad brahma, that to be Brahman, iti, thus, avadharayet. Realize that to be Brahman, which is existence, knowledge, bliss absolute, which is non dual, infinite, eternal, and one, and which fills all the quarters above and below and all that exists between. East and west, above and below, here and everywhere, permeates that dynamic reality. When I'm aware of that consciousness and live that experience, this outer world of consciousness is no more available for me. The world that I perceive now with my limited body, mind, intellect equipment. How can I see the front or rear, top or bottom of that one homogeneous mass of consciousness when there is nothing other than it everywhere? I cannot say the front because the front of what? A limited thing alone can have parts or sides. Thus, we experience this endlessness of infinite bliss, which is one without a second. This world of attachment and sorrow is because of the self-dissipating extrovertedness and the delusory interests wrongly created by our mind for the individuality in us. There is no experience when there is the only one reality. And the nature of the Paramatman in you is Satchit Ananda. This experience of pure being cannot be described because it will then be limited by the feeble powers of our speech. It is that light which is eternally here in you and everywhere you roam about. Moments of perfect attunement with it are the moments of self-realization. Here Swamiji is mentioned, moments of perfect attunement with it are the moments of self-realization. So probably there are some moments in all sadhaks' lives. We all experience those moments, but they're fleeting moments. But that has to become uniform. So it's not really an experience because you can, because you cannot experience, you cannot put it in words. Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely true. It is like Gurudev had given that queen's example, no? The king and the queen, that the one who got enlightened first, the queen.
Tripura Rahasya, no?
Yeah.
What is that?
It is a beautiful shloka that is, oh, thank you. Tripura Rahasya is I think a composition, I don't know who has composed that, but where the queen actually is enlightened and the king learns, king becomes her student and she keeps giving him Atma Vidya. So the beautiful shlokas in Tripura Rahasya. During Navratri, Gurudev was, they were chanting that. They were reading up the Tripura Rahasya from that scripture. It is also when there are, go ahead, Bela.
No, you please go ahead, Brahmarajji.
So many interviewers, when they ask Gurudev, are you enlightened? You know, he says, a person who is enlightened will not say he is. If he says he's enlightened, that means he is not. So I suppose that is the state of bliss, of enlightenment. Because see, if he says he's enlightened, then he is coming from the space of an ego sense. So that means there is no enlightenment. So it's a tricky situation, but that is what Gurudev had mentioned several times. He says all those who say they are enlightened, they're actually not enlightened. You wanted to say something, Bela?
No, Brahmaraj. So all the sages are like, Ramana Maharshi or Ramakrishna Paramhans. They all are, I mean, they relish in that state of oneness always.
Correct. Should we do one more shloka?
अद्वयात् वृत्तिरूपेण वेदान्तेर्लक्ष्यते द्वयम् अखण्डानन्दमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत्.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Sarlaji. Atat, not this, Vyavriti Rupena, by the process of negation, Vedanta, by Vedanta philosophy, Lakshyate indicated, Advayam, non-dual, Akhandanandam, indivisible and blissful, Ekam, one, Yat, which, Tad Brahma, that to be Brahman, iti thus, Avadharayet, realize. Realize that to be Brahman, which is non-dual, indivisible, one and blissful, and which is indicated in Vedanta as the immutable substratum, realized after the negation of all tangible objects. Reference is made here to the process of negation which was explained earlier. None can directly reach the all-pervading Brahman, who is not an object of cognition, but is itself the subjective reality, ever illumining all thoughts and actions. Being one without a second, it does not admit of any difference from similar or dissimilar objects. This indivisible and immutable self is not an important factor, but a positive state of infinite bliss. The Upanishads indicate that this self is reached by a process of negation of what is not and of assertion of what it is, the very substratum for all the existence. Are not our minds limited? Are not our thoughts in their impurity ever unsteady? Are not the objects of cognition ever changing and of a perishable nature? What is it that is changeless in all this welter of change? What is the one life force on account of which there is the manifestation of matter? Who illumines the inert matter? Who injects matter with the vigor and vitality of life? What exists beyond all this pluralistic existence? Which is the homogeneous and the all-permeating spirit in all objects? What keeps all things in one loving embrace, like the string in a garland of pearls? That is the substratum, the basis of our own self, which cannot be objectively pursued, but can be subjectively experienced as the pure consciousness, Atman. In the earlier three stanzas, the self was indicated with a definition by differentiation, yet in consonance with it, technically called the Tatastha Lakshana. From here onwards, we have a description of the life spark in us by the direct method called Swarupa Lakshana. So Tatastha Lakshana is by the process of negation, differentiation yet in consonance, whereas the direct method is the Swarupa Lakshana, Akhandananda.
So what you said, no, the one who is enlightened will not say I am enlightened. So people
Yeah,
will think it's Swarupa Lakshana. No?
yeah, correct. So I will have to leave here. Will any one of you continue? You want to continue the Manana? You can, I will make one of you the hosts. Bela, are you able to share screen for some time?
No, my dear. I'm really sorry.
Won't be able to, right? So
No,
I'm
no,
not
my
sure
dear.
who
And
else can share screen. I have to leave because I have another meeting now. So shall we close the Manana here today?
yes, dear.
Okay. We can all meditate after we close this, huh? Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Dhanyavad, Brahmaraj.
Jai Gurudev.